It's Motivation Monday, a new week, a fresh start and another opportunity to level up. This is your moment to reset your mindset, refocus your energy, and realign with your purpose. Whatever didn't work last week, that's done. Today you move differently, stronger, smarter, more disciplined, because growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from pressure, consistency, and showing up when it's hard. No excuses, no distractions, just elevation. The grind starts now, the discipline kicks in today. And the results, that's on you. Every move you make this week is building something bigger. So set the tone today, or spend the rest of the week trying to catch up. Because every Monday is a chance to rewrite your story, to step into a new version of yourself. This isn't just another week. This is your rebirth, Motivation Monday, powered by the Final Boss.
Welcome. It is Motivation Monday. Woo! Motivation Monday. Man, listen, I got a great show for you tonight. I got a great show for you tonight, right? Man, we're going to have a good time. We have a good time tonight, man. This is episode number 217. On our way to 300. On our way to season 5, the harvest, right? I'm so excited, man. Listen. It is Motivation Monday. And look, I got a great show for you tonight, man. To each and every last single one of you, no matter where you're watching from, on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, Kick, YouTube, Spotify, StreamYard, wherever you're watching us at, right? Wherever. Thank you for joining us. And to each and every last single one of you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. This is the Final Boss Podcast. I am the Final Boss. We are here. I am here. Man, we are here, right? And it is time to get on board. The you know what? Hold on. Let me give it a proper introduction. To Shikandi, to the beautiful and uncompromising, always analytical, providing the most amazing feedback, Andrea, and to everyone else. I see you. House 365. I see you, Sean 70812. I see you. What is that? Han? Yeah, you got it. Yeah, hand 3931. Yes. I see you all. Man, thank you, man. We're so overwhelmed as the people are coming in for tonight's episode, man. And a lot of people enjoy Motivation Monday. I wonder why. I wonder why, right? It could be because of my magic stick. Yes. But look, we got a great show for you tonight, man. And we're going to ready to go ahead and get right into tonight's episode, man. Tonight's episode 217. And tonight we're going to be talking about what are we going to be talking about? I guess you guys want to know, right? I guess you want to know. But guess what? Tonight, the show's about you. The show is about you, right? The uniqueness of you. Each and every last single one of you. Each and every last single one of you. Tonight's show is about you. Uniqueness of you, of all of you, right? So, let's go ahead and get rid of these banners, right? Let's get rid of the banners so we can get right into tonight's episode. And before we get started, man, I think everybody's all aboard. Everyone is seated, and if you haven't by now, we'll get go time all aboard the fired up train. Right? We'll get go time all aboard the fired up train. You see it behind me, right? Go get go time all aboard the fired up train. It's my first book. It's a series, the Go Time series, right? Coming everywhere, everywhere. It is at all bookstores, every single where, at all bookstores where books are sold. So, everyone's buckled in. I am the conductor of the evening. Let's get started. All aboard the fired up train, right? So, look, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, you know exactly what this episode is about. Well, I'm here to tell you, stop. Stop right there. Right? Before you settle in, before you get comfortable, before you even fix your face to say you already know what it's about, I need you to understand something. Tonight is different. Tonight, we're not continuing the conversation. Tonight, we are starting a construction project, right? This is arc 3, the foundation, and the foundation starts right now. You made it through the reckoning season 3, and you put everything on the table. You everything on the table, and you were forced to look at it, all of it, right? The lies you told yourself, the habits that stayed too long, the version of you that kept showing up even when you knew it was time to retire them. Season 3 did not play with you. It was hard. It was rough, right? It was contentious. And it was it was not supposed to, right? It wasn't, but it was. Then season 4, the rebirth happened. And the rebirth is not something that happened to you. The rebirth is something you chose. The shedding was yours. The silence was yours. The cleaning was yours. The clearing was yours. Every single bit of the process was the decision you made, consciously or unconsciously, to make room for something worth building. And tonight, right now, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Motivation Mondays, we answer the most important question of this entire season. What is the new architecture built on? Right? The answer is not a system. The answer is not a strategy. The answer is not even in framework. Though framework is coming. The answer is you. The answer is you. Yes, you, right? The specific, unrepeatable, undeniable, unduplicated version of you that nobody else can access because it only lives inside of you. That is the foundation it is built on. And tonight, we're going to go all the way in because, baby, it is go time. So let's go. All right. So, for all those who are new here, this is the Find a Boss podcast. And for those of you who are repeat offenders, welcome back. Welcome back to my smarts, to my motivators, to my warriors, to my final bosses, to the sovereign. This is the Find a Boss podcast, right? And our author, best-selling book, Go Time, first of the series, right? And we are live, per usual. And if you're watching or listening in real time, I see you. If you thought the replay, if you caught the replays, thank you for watching the clips. You've made an excellent decision by being here. Share it with somebody. Right? Put somebody else on the information. Because tonight, Motivation Mondays, episode 217, we're officially in arc 3, the foundation. This is the Monday of the foundation phase in the season 4 rebirth. And I need you to feel the weight of that sentence. Not because it is ceremonial, because it's architectural. We are no longer in the clearing process. We are in the building process. Tonight, the blueprint hits the paper. Right? But before we go anywhere, let me acknowledge who is in the building tonight, right? We have our 4 communities, right, that make this platform what it is. The smarts, who bring the intelligence, the critical thinking, right? They found the bosses who became and who are here because they refuse to settle for less than, right? They refuse. And to my motivators who keep the spirit and the fire alive, right? And to my warriors who've been through enough to know that surviving is not the same as winning. All 4 of you are getting addressed tonight directly. This is not a one-size-fits-all conversation. This is a precise instrument. And I'm talking to each of you specifically before this episode is over, right? We're operating tonight inside the lens of the rebirth, as you may know, because that is how season 4 works. Every episode, every arc, every segment carries that specific lens. The rebirth is not a backdrop. The rebirth is a structure we are living inside of right now. Everything we build tonight, we build from inside that context. Get your pen and paper, get your notes ready, pour yourself a drink, get comfortable, and then get uncomfortable, because that is when the real work starts. So let's go. And listen, before I build anything, let me give you the brass tacks of the evening, right? This is where I set the intellectual floor, and I don't walk into the conversation without grounding the discourse in something that has already stood the test of time. Someone smarter than the moment said it first. My job is to activate it. Tonight quote comes from Ralph Emerson. He said, "To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment," right? The greatest accomplishment. I'm going to say it again. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment, right? The greatest. Not the biggest business, not the most followers, not the highest salary or the most impressive title, right? The greatest accomplishment, according to one of the most respected thinkers in American intellectual history, is the act of remaining yourself in a world that works around the clock to replace you with more convenient, more palatable, and more manageable versions, right? And here is where I need you to stay with me, because this is not a self-help affirmation. This is a structural observation. Emerson was not writing a motivational poster. He was writing a warning. The world has a template. The world has expectations. The world has categories, boxes, lanes, and titles. And from the moment you were born, the pressure begins, right? Be this, be that, sound like this, sound like that. Act accordingly, fit here, right? Fit here. And some of you may say, what is it called? It's called code switch, right? Code switch, right? You can't talk this way around these people. You can't act this way around these people, right? Code switching. The person you are at work and the person you are at home or with your homies or whomever, it's all different. Then the person you're with, your relationship that when you're in your relationship and the person you're with when you're with immediate family, it's all different, right? Code switching. And most people comply, not because they're weak, because the pressure is constant and the cost of resistance feels high. But what Emerson understood and what Go Time teaches is that your uniqueness is not a personality quirk. It is not something cute about you. It is the single most valuable asset you possess. And if you let the world sand it down to something smooth and acceptable, you traded the one thing that makes you irreplaceable for the cheap comfort of fitting in. Let's get uncomfortable, baby. Let's get uncomfortable. Yes, that is the foundation of tonight's entire conversation. Right? The new architecture is built on you, not a version of you, not a polished, sanitized presentation, ready version. The real you, the specific, original, never been replaced or replicated, the blueprint, who you are, the blueprint that came factory installed in your DNA. That is the architecture. That is the foundation. Everything else we build tonight goes on top of that. Now, I need you to take a moment. I need you to take a moment and honor the road that got us here, right? Just a moment. Season 3, called The Reckoning, it was called that for a reason. I did not name it casually. A reckoning is not a setback. A reckoning is not a bad season. A reckoning is a moment of radical honesty, right? It is the moment you stop negotiating with reality and start actually dealing with it, right? We ran through 200 episodes across seasons 1, 2, and 3, building toward that moment, right? And when episode 200 hit, the reckoning closed. The gavel came down and the season ended. The verdict came in. And the verdict was simple. You survived, right? You survived. Now ask yourself, now what? Now what? Right? And now what is exactly where season 4, The Rebirth, was born. The Rebirth is not about starting over, like none of it happened. The Rebirth is about starting on purpose, with full awareness, with everything the reckoning taught you still in your hands. You do not throw that away. You use it. You use it, people. You use it, right? Think about what a rebirth actually requires, right? Before anything is reborn, something has to die. Not in a dramatic fashion, a tragic sense, in a necessary, intentional sense, right? The caliper does not resist the cocoon. The caliper submits to the process because the cocoon is not the end. It is the architecture of transformation. You cannot go from caterpillar to butterfly without the uncomfortable in between that looks like destruction from the outside, right? That uncomfortable in between was season 3. That was the episode where we dealt with victory has defeated you. That was one of the hardest conversations about what happens when winning becomes a trap, when an achievement becomes the ceiling instead of the floor. Season 3 forced the disillusion. It was necessary, right? Season 4, The Rebirth, is the emergence. Right. And now we're in arc 3, the foundation, right? So understand the arc structure. Arc 1 was the awakening. You woke up inside the rebirth and started to feel what was different. Arc 2 was the clearing. We stripped the unnecessary. We identified what what needed to go. We had the honest conversations about what you were carrying that was not yours to carry anymore, right? The process required silence. It required silence, right? That process required stillness. Some of you felt like nothing was happening during that stretch. Everything was happening, right? Arc 3 is the build. The foundation goes down, and it does not go down on someone else's blueprint. It goes down on the uniqueness of you. Now, let me be precise about what a foundation is, because people throw the word around without understanding its architectural weight. A foundation is not the first wall. A foundation is not the first room. A foundation is the invisible structure that determines what you can build above it, right? Every single thing that goes up later is constrained or enabled by what went into the ground before visible construction even started. If the foundation is weak, everything above it is at risk, right? No matter how impressive it looks. No matter how impressive it looks. If the foundation is solid, you can build as high as you want, as wide as you want, and the structure still holds. This is not a metaphor. This is engineering, and it applies to your life with the same precision it applies to a skyscraper, right? It's all applicable, right? So when I say Arc 3, the foundation starts tonight, I'm not being poetic. I'm being structural. We are in the engineering phase. We are deciding with full consciousness and full intention what this next level of your life gets built on. Once the decision is made correctly and built properly, everything that comes after that changes, right? And here is what most people got wrong about foundations. They try to build them on external things. They try to build on credentials. They try to build on money. They try to build on other people's validation or other people's definitions of success. And it is not any of those things, because those things do not matter, right? It is those things are conditional, right? Every external thing can be taken away. Every credential can be revoked. Every account can be emptied, right? Every relationship can end, and every title can disappear, right? The only foundation that cannot be taken away from you is the one built on the specific, irreplaceable thing. And that very thing is what you are and who you are. God designed your uniqueness. He designed your uniqueness, right? The uniqueness of who you are, right? Or actually are. That is why tonight's topic is not just inspirational. It is foundational, literally. What we talk about tonight is the bedrock, right? The question is not, what do you want to build? The question is, who is doing the building? Because the builder determines the structure. The builder determines the quality. The builder determines the longevity. And if you do not know who the builder actually is, if you have spent years building a version of yourself that somebody else designed, then everything that goes up is someone else's building wearing your name. Wearing your name. That sounds familiar. That sounds very, very familiar, right? Arc 3 ends. Arc 3 ends that conversation, and we're going to do it tonight, right? The foundation starts with you knowing. With you knowing. With absolute clarity, zero apology, right? Who you actually are. Not who in the world the world told you to be, right? Not who the job expects you to show up as, not who the algorithm rewards, but who you are, right? That is the first brick. And we're laying that brick tonight, right? Now, I have to talk about the methodology, right? Because the Final Boss podcast, we don't just inspire, we equip, we inspire. We give inspiration, without infrastructure, inspiration without infrastructure is just entertainment, right? I am not in the entertainment business. I am in the transformation business, right? The methodology is go time. For those who are new to the community, welcome. You picked a good night to show up. But I need you to understand that go time is not a hashtag. Go time is a complete system of human development built, that's been built episode by episode, page by page, word by word, book by book, right? Conversation by conversation across multiple seasons of this very podcast, right? Go time, all aboard the fired up train. Every letter carries architectural weight. F is for faith, not just a spiritual dimension, though that is part of it. Faith is the decision to act on what you cannot see. Every person who ever built something significant acted before the proof arrived. The train does not wait for you to feel ready. You board it while it's moving, right? And then there's I. I is for integrity. This is the structural element. Integrity in engineering means all the parts hold together under stress. Personal integrity means the same thing. Who you are in public and who you are in private are the same person, right? When integrity is compromised, the structure cracks under pressure every single time, right? And then R. R is for resilience, not the motivation poster version where resilience means smiling through the pain. No, we're not talking about that. Real resistance is the capacity to absorb the hit and convert it into data, right? Every setback contains information. Every failure is a briefing. Resilient people do not avoid pain, they metabolize it, right? And then there's E. E is for excellence, not perfection, not performance. Excellence is the standard you set for your own work, right? When nobody is watching. It is what you decide, right? It is what you decide, what you're worth. And this is personal, right? Excellence is not measured against someone else's output. It is measured against your own potential, right? And then there's D. D is for discipline. The most misunderstood word in the development vocabulary. People think discipline is about restriction. It's not. Discipline is about direction. Discipline keeps the train on the tracks when the conditions get difficult. Without discipline, inspiration is just a feeling. Without discipline, inspiration becomes an engine. And then there's you. You is for unity. You are not building alone. You may be the architect, but the structure requires community, right? The full communities inside the platform exist because no one becomes a final boss in isolation. The smarts, the final bosses, the motivators, the warriors are not just the audience members. They are your construction crew, right? And then there's P. P is for purpose. This is for the destination, not a goal. A purpose is deeper than a goal. Goals change. Purpose does not. Purpose is the why that outlasts every how, right? When you know your purpose with precision, every decision gets easier because you have a reference point that does not move, right? That is the fired up train. That is go time. And tonight, in Arc 3, the foundation, every single letter of the acronym connects directly to the uniqueness of you because the train was never designed to carry a generic passenger. The train was built for specific architects, people like yourself, people who know who they are, people who show up as the full version, not a curated sample, right? You board the fired up train as yourself, full version, right? No apologies, no modifications, or you don't board at all, right? Now, let's go deep and stay with me, right? Let's go deep and stay with me. The concept of uniqueness gets talked about a lot. and understood by very few. People say you are unique. The same way they say, have a nice day. It lands, registers, and then evaporates, right? So I want to change that. I want the word unique to hit different by the time this episode is over, right? And here's the scientific reality. The probability, man, listen to this very carefully. The probability of you existing in the specific configuration that you exist right now is so astronomically small that some researchers describe it as essentially impossible. The specific genetic combination, the specific timing, the specific sequence of circumstances that positioned your parents exactly where they needed to be at exactly the right moment, the specific experiences that shaped your thinking, your instincts, your reflexes, your capacity for compassion, your threshold for pain, your sense of humor, your unique way of seeing a problem and generating a solution. None of that gets replicated. None of that exists anywhere else in the world. And here is what most people do with that reality. They do nothing. They absolutely do nothing. Right? They accept the uniqueness as a nice thought and then spend their lives trying to fit a mold built for someone who does not even exist. Right? That is what rebirth is pushing against. Right? The rebirth is a structural lens that does not just mean you're starting fresh. The rebirth means you are starting as yourself, fully, completely, unapologetically. The rebirth is not a rebrand, it is a return to the original, uncompromised blueprint, right? So ask yourself, who are you? Who are you? And I don't mean professionally. I don't mean the biography. I mean the actual you, right? What do you notice that other people walk past, right? That is a clue to your uniqueness. What problem can you sit with for hours without feeling drained? That's also a clue. What conversation makes you feel fully alive? That's another clue. What injustice makes you physically unable to stay silent? Ding, ding, ding. Another clue, right? What patterns do you see in everything that other people call random? Another clue, right? All of those clues point to the same address. They are all giving you directions to the same destination. They are all saying this is a specific lane you're built for. This is the specific contribution that only you can make. The world would not produce another you, right? You are the one, the only one. You are the only run of this particular press, right? The F in fired up train was for faith, right? Stay acting on faith, right? Even before the full picture arrives, even before the audience shows up, even before the structure is visible, faith says the blueprint in your hands is real, even when the building does not exist yet, right? That is the first layer of the foundation. You have to know who you are, not the title, not the resume, the actual irreplaceable, irreducible you, right? Now, let's talk about your history for a second. Because some of you have been treating your past like luggage you need to check at the door, right? Some of you treat your luggage like you're going through the airport and you're just giving it to TSA, right? You're doing all of that. Your luggage, let's act like your luggage is your building blocks, right? And you're giving it all away before you even build anything, And that's wrong, man. That is wrong. Not motivationally wrong, architecturally wrong. As you can see, I love the word architecture. That's one of my favorite words, right? Your history is not excess weight. Your history is load-bearing material. Every difficult thing you survived, every hard season you came through, every version of yourself you had to retire to become, you are right now. That's who you are. All of it, structural, all of it goes down. All of it is a part of your foundation. Listen, I'm a combat veteran, right? I served in two tours. Afghanistan, OE3, OEF3 and 4, and OIF in 2007. I was at the Pentagon on 9/11, right? I've been in rooms where the air changed and the math of survival got very simple, very fast. I did not leave any of that in the parking lot when I was trying to build this platform. I brought it inside, every bit of it, because those experiences gave me a specific way of seeing urgency that someone else without those experiences cannot replicate. That's not a brag. That's not being braggadocious, right? That's not for vanity's sake. That is the blueprint. Your hardest chapters gave you capacity no classroom could have ever provided. The divorce, the bankruptcy, the firing, the health crisis, the loss, the betrayal. I am not saying those things were good. I'm saying that if you are still standing with us, as you are, right? You use them, whether you know it or not. And the foundation you are building right now is stronger because of every one of those chapters, not in spite of them, right? This is where the I and fired up train and the I and fired up integrity becomes critical, because integrity means the parts are connected. It means your history, your present, and your future are not three separate stories. They're one story, structurally integrated. When you try to disconnect from your past because it is uncomfortable, that is not healing. That is fracturing. And fracture in this foundation shows up in the structure above it every single time. And for those of you out there who don't like talking about your past, that's not healing. You aren't healed. You aren't healed. Right? That's shots fired, right? Shots fired to those who listen. You think you're healed, you're not. If you can't talk about your past, you aren't healed. Let me tell you, right? What you carry is not just your pain. What you carry is your proof that you are still here, proof that none of it was final, proof that every hit converted into data, even when you did not realize you were running the conversation. The warriors in the room, listen up. The warriors in the room know. They know this conversation better than anyone. You've been through the things that would have stopped most people cold, and you kept moving. Not because you had no fear, because you developed a relationship with fear that most people never learn, right? You discovered that fear is a signal, not a verdict. That is not common. That is specifically to you, right? And you own it, and it's yours, right? The R in fired up is resilience, right? Resilience says it does not just carry what you've been through. You build with the resilience. The weight of your history is your structural capacity. Stack it correctly, and it becomes the most durable part of your foundation, right? Now, let's talk about your trajectory. Let's talk about your trajectory. We talked about direction. We talked about all these other things. Let's talk about your trajectory. Because knowing who you are and knowing what you carry is incomplete without a destination. The fired up train goes somewhere. It is not a scenic ride. It is a delivery vehicle. The question is, where are you going, right? Answer that with specificity, right? somewhere better than here. And that's not a destination. That is a direction. Directions are good. Destinations are better. And the destinations built on your specific uniqueness are irreplaceable. Here's the distinction most people miss. They set goals based on what they've seen other people achieve. They look at someone else's destination and say, I want that, right? Sometimes the goal is legitimate, but if it's borrowed and borrowed destinations do not have the same fuel source as the original ones, I hate to tell you, right? You were not built to arrive at someone else's address. You were built to arrive at yours, right? What does arriving at your destination look like? Not the Instagram version, not the version your parents would brag about, not the version that impressed the critics, right? Not the version that at 2 a.m. When it's just you and you all by yourself, right? And your honest self, and what that feels like, right? It feels like the right answer, but it's not. That's the destination. That is purpose. The P and fired up train, right? And inside the rebirth, purpose is not something you discover passively. You do not stumble onto your purpose by accident. You excavate it. You dig through all the layers of expectation and performance and presentation until you hit rock bottom, until you hit the bedrock, right? And when you hit it, you know it because it feels different from everything above it. It's solid in a way that everything else is not. The arc 3 is the foundation. The destination question is the question. The architecture of everything we building in this season points toward where you are going, right? And where you're going is a place only you can occupy because the address belongs to the uniqueness of you. This matters for the smarts in the building. Right now, it matters to you guys, right? Because you think differently. Your processes are how you see things is different. Your curiosity runs the direction most people do not look in. Your destination cannot be the standard. It cannot fit into a conventional lane. The smarts were never built for conventional lanes. You were built to create new ones. Your go time moment is when you stop apologizing for thinking at a level other people do not understand and start building the structure your mind was always designed to inhabit. This matters, right? This matters. And this also matters for the final bosses because you know what winning feels like. You've tasted it. And some of you are the version of the victory has defeated you. And right now, you know this. You hit a milestone, and instead of it launching you, it capped you, right? The foundation of Arc 3 is your reset, not a reset back to zero, but a reset to move forward to a destination bigger than the last one. Because final bosses do not stop at the last win. They keep building. They look for the next mountain and they build on it, right? The rebirth is the lens. You do not go back to who you were before the last win. You build from who you became because of it. Right? Now, let me stop and talk to each and every single one of you specifically, right? This is not generalized motivation. This is targeted communication. Smarts, I'm talking to you first because Arc 3, the foundation, is your chapter in particular. You have been gathering information. You've been analyzing. You've been processing every conversation, every season, every arc through your intelligence and your own discernment. And some of you have been using your smarts to build a case for why the timing feels so right. You've been doing the intellectual version of standing at the boarding platform, watching the train leave without getting on it. Tonight, I need y'all to hear me clearly. Your intelligence is part of your uniqueness. But intelligence that never converts to action is just expensive file cabinets, right? The fired up train is not waiting for perfect conditions. The E in that acronym, excellence, is not about waiting for the perfect moment. Excellence is about doing excellent work with what you have right now, where you are standing right now, right? The rebirth for smarts is the decision to convert analysis into architecture. Stop studying the blueprint. It's time for you to start building, right? And to my final bosses, you are the ones who showed up to this platform because you already decided you were not settling. You made a decision. You are not here by accident. And Arc 3 asks you an even harder question. Not whether you decided not to settle, but what you are building instead. The decision not to settle is only the beginning. The architecture of what you are building is the real work. The rebirth is for final bosses is the shift from refusing the wrong thing to actively constructing the right one. That is a different kind of work. It requires more of the D and fired up discipline, right? Discipline, not the discipline of resistance, the discipline of construction. And to my motivators, right? I have a specific word just for you, right? Because you are the ones who keep the other people going. That is a great gift, a genuine, powerful, necessary gift. But some of you pour out so consistently that you have not taken an honest assessment of your own foundation recently. You know how to build fire under other people. When was the last time you set your own fire for yourself, right? For yourself. The rebirth for motivators is recognition that you can only give what you actually have, not what you used to have, not what you think you should have, what you actually have right now. The foundation is the invitation for you to build your foundation with the same intention and energy you bring to everyone else. You matter too. Your architecture matters too. The I and fired up train, integrity, points directly at you. The internal and external they have to match, right? You can't inspire others toward a solid foundation while your own is cracking. That's not sustainable, right? It will crash. It will show the cracks eventually, right? To my warriors, let me close with you guys, right? Let me close this segment with you because everything I said in segment 8 was for you as much as anyone. You know what it costs to keep moving. You've paid it. You are paying it right now. And some of you are so used to the weight that you cannot tell the difference between the weight that is building you and the weight that is just exhausting you. Arc 3, the foundation, is the moment where you lay down what you lay down what how can I say this? You lay down what was never yours, right? And you carry it was never yours to carry permanently and pick up what was always meant to be your own foundation. The rebirth is the structural lens of the season that is giving you permission to do that. Not permission from me, permission from the process, right? The shedding is done. The clearing is done. The silence served the purpose. You survived the reckoning. You moved through the rebirth. Now the foundation goes down. And warriors build the most durable structures in the world because they know exactly what the structure has to hold. The you and fired up is unity. And that is for all of you, all 4 communities, right? This platform is a construction site. Every one of you is building something, and you are building inside a community of people doing the same thing at the same time with the same seriousness of intent. That is not common. And please don't take it for granted, right? Don't take it for granted. Now, let me apply the rebirth as a structural lens one more time before we close this section out, because I need this to land with architectural precision. The rebirth is season 4. Every episode, every arc, every conversation, every tool deployed this season operates inside the framework. The rebirth is the lens through which all content in season 4 gets processed. It is not a talking point. It is the structural overlay. So what does rebirth mean for the concept of the foundation specifically? It means we are not building on what existed before the clearing. We are building on the ground that the clearing already prepared. That is an important point. That is the difference between renovation and construction. Renovation works around what is already there. Construction works with cleared ground, right? Clarity. Arc 1 and Arc 2 of season 4 cleared the ground. What happens in Arc 3 is genuine construction. The first thing that goes into the cleared ground is the foundation. And the foundation, as we established tonight, is built on the uniqueness of you, right? The rebirth as a lens says the person building the foundation is not the same person who needed the reckoning. You have changed. The clearing changed you. The shedding changed you. The silence changed you, right? The version of you that shows up to Arc 3 operates from a different baseline that the version entered in season 3. That is not something to walk past casually. That deserves acknowledgement. The person you were before the reckoning might have tried to build the foundation on external validation or comparison, right? On someone else's definition of success. The person you are right now, after the full process of season 3 and season 4, arcs 1 and 2, is ready to build on something more permanent, on the original, undiluted, undamaged, unrepeatable uniqueness of yourself. That is what the rebirth produced. Not just survival, clarity, the kind of clarity that comes only after real loss and real stillness and real honesty. The P in fired up is purpose. It activates at a different level in a person who went through genuine rebirth, because the purpose is no longer filtered through ego. It is not filtered through what will impress people. It comes from a cleaner source. It comes from the foundation of self, right? That is what we're building. That is the architecture, right? Now, I have to give you guys 2 pieces of news before we close out, right? So pay attention. Yeah, no bathroom break, no hallway pass. Sit your ass down. Class is in session, right? The first piece is this. Go time 2. 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 It's coming. It's coming this July, right? Go time 2 is coming this July. For those of you who have read the original Go Time, it became an Amazon bestseller. You know what the book did? You know what the book did, man? It laid down the foundation. It laid down the foundational tier of the entire Go Time system. Tier 1, the who you be, the 6 pillars of success, the beginning of the methodology. Go Time 2 goes further. Go Time 2 is tier 2, the what you build. The 6 building blocks of reward, the 5 systems of sovereignty, the 4 weapons of warfare. This is not a sequel in the conventional sense. It is the next floor of the building. Go Time built the foundation under you. Go Time 2 builds the walls and the system. July 2026. That is the timeline, right? So get ready. Start talking about it now. Not because I need the marketing, but because your community needs the tool. The people around you who are trying to build something need this book in their hands. Go Time 2 is practical. It's structured, right? It's been field tested and built from the same source material that has been firing on this platform since the beginning. The Final Boss community gets the announcement first because that is how we operate. And you heard it here first, right? You heard it here first on Motivation Mondays. Arc 3, the foundation, right? Sounds like I'm flirting a little bit. I'm excited. Right? A book about building announced during the foundation arc, right? That's how we do things here. Second, right? And this one is a little further out, but I'm gonna plan it right here, right? I'm gonna plan it right here. We've been talking about it for a while, but I'm gonna plan it right here. Season 5, The Harvest, and episode number 300, where the harvest begins. The harvest concept is exactly what it sounds like. Everything you have been planning through the reckoning, through the rebirth, through arc 3, the foundation, all of it has been seed work. The harvest is the chapter where the fruit comes, where the return of the investment of your character, your discipline, your rebuilding, your unique architectural work shows up in your hands. We're not in the harvest, right? We're in the foundation that makes the harvest possible. But I need you to know it's coming, because motivation without a destination is just noise, right? The destination of rebirth is the harvest. The destination of the foundation we are laying right now is the season where things grow. Plant correctly, build correctly. The harvest is coming. Now, let me close with this tonight's conversation. Let me close this content. Oh, that hurt. Tonight's conversation with something I need you to carry out from here, right? The architecture review is not something you design from scratch. It is something you uncover. The design was already in there. The blueprint was already written. The material where everything is already chosen. Your life has been the process of excavating it. Everything you have been through was material. Everything you survived was structured training. Everything you thought was a detour was actually returned on a route to the specific address your foundation was always meant to occupy. The uniqueness of you is not a concept you arrive at by thinking harder. It is a reality you arrive at by being honest longer. Honest about what you love. Honest about what angers you. Honest about what you cannot walk away from. Honest about what shows up in you when you're not performing for anyone. That honesty is the excavation tool. Arc 3, the foundation, is where the excavation ends and the construction begins. Here's what I need you to do before this week is out, right? I need you to write 3 things down. You got pen and paper already, so I'm going to get into it, right? Number 1, the thing you do, let me say this. The thing you do, I don't want to say this. The thing you do, the thing that you do that nobody taught you. Yeah, I got it. Okay, yeah. The thing that you do that nobody taught you. The thing that just lives in you. I want you to write that down, right? And number 2, the problem in the world you cannot look away from. The one that will let you stay, that won't let you stay comfortable. Write that down, right? And number 3, the version of yourself you keep trying to build that keeps feeling more right than anything you built before. Not because it was most successful version, because it is the most honest one. Write that down, right? Those three things are the architectural drawing of your foundation. They are your blueprint of your uniqueness of you. When you lay the foundation correctly, everything above it changes. The rebirth gave you the cleared ground. Arc 3 is giving you the blueprint. The construction is yours to execute. Fired up train is here, and we're getting on the board. We're getting on the fired up train, man. Now, let me speak directly to the person who showed up tonight not knowing why they clicked play to listen or watch this episode. You did not come here by accident. Nothing that happens in an intentional space is accidental. You click play because something in you something in you was you recognized, right? You were ready for that next thing. You may not have had the language for it. You may not have had been able to articulate it in certain conversations, but the recognition was real. What you found tonight in this conversation about your own foundation is the thing your next level is going to stand on. The thing that when the storm comes, and it will come, determines whether the structure holds. Your uniqueness is not an accident. Your history is not a liability. Your specific way of seeing the world and moving through it is not inconvenience. It is the most precise tool you have. And the world, your world, the version of the world that only you can build, needs you to use that tool. The reckoning told you what was not working, was not working, right? The rebirth gave you the cleared ground. Arc 3, the foundation, is where you decide what goes in the ground first. Decide on you. Decide on you. The real one, the honest one, the full one, the unrepeatable original. That is the new architecture. Built on the uniqueness of you. Because you know what? It's go time. It's go time. And to the smarts, to the motivators, to the final bosses, to the warriors, this is what Motivation Mondays is for. It's not a pep talk, not entertainment, a precision instrument tool for people who are building something that matters. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. 9 p.m. Eastern Time, live. Thank you for staying in this conversation as we continue this conversation across all 5 shows. Thank you for being the kind of community that shows other people what is possible. I will see you tomorrow for Tech Tuesdays with the Sensei, right? Tech Tuesdays with the Sensei. And you know, before we go, before I wrap this up, before I wrap up this episode 217, Motivation Mondays, Arc 3, the foundation, right? Season for the rebirth. If tonight hit you, do not keep it to yourself. Share this episode. Tag your people. Right? Drop it in a group. Somebody in your circle needed to hear the conversation, and they would not find it unless you put it on. Put them on, right? Go Time 2 hits in July. Watch the space. Watch all 5 shows. And remember this, you can't get Go Time. You can get Go Time 2 without Go Time 1, but you won't understand Go Time 2 unless you have Go Time 1. It's written that way. It's written for you to level up, right? You need Go Time 1, the foundation, to understand Go Time 2, right? And for my Final Boss community, what can I say? These aren't decorations. These are tools. I need you guys to use the tools, right? I need you to use the tools. And remember this. There's a heavy pain that comes with discipline, but the pain of but there's an even heavier pain that comes with regret. I am here. We are here, right? We are here. And as always, to each and every last single one of you, smarts, motivators, warriors, final bosses, the sovereign. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. That is our show. That is our show of the evening, right? Be balanced, be equal, be smart. Thank you for tuning in. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow, live at 9 p.m. for Tech Tuesdays. Talk to you then. Have a great one.
They thought it was over. They thought the fire burned out. But fire doesn't destroy the chosen. It forges them. Hosted by Turbo, the CEO. New energy, new strategy. Every setback builds strength. Every loss builds strategy. And every leader rises again. The rebirth begins. Season 4. Bigger conversations. Real strategy. Power moves only. Monday motivation. Tech Tuesday. Merger Wednesday. Special guest Thursdays, sit down Sundays. Season 4 starts now. Tap in or get left behind. Because bosses don't wait, they lead.